I actually think Dianna Russini's career may recover faster if she leaves the NFL entirely for a year. Not forever, just long enough to remember what football looks like before it becomes power, access, leverage, and private relationships floating around luxury hotel bars during draft weekend. And honestly, college football may be exactly where she needs to go. Because right now, her career feels emotionally similar to Wall Street after a financial scandal. The intelligence may still be there, the work ethic may still be there, the connections may still be there, but once the trust account gets damaged publicly, every interaction starts feeling different psychologically. That is the real issue. Not whether she can report, not whether executives still answer her calls, but not whether she understands football. The issue is perception. Perception is everything in insider journalism. Because insider journalism is built almost entirely on emotional trust. Fans do not actually know which sources are real. Fans do not know which executives leak strategically. Fans do not know which, conversations happen privately over dinners, phone calls, text messages, or draft weekend hotel meetings. What audiences are really buying emotionally is the feeling that the reporter exists slightly above the emotional mess of the sport itself. And that is the product. The product is distance, control, professionalism, and detachment. And once audiences start feeling like the insider became emotionally entangled into the machine they're covering, the reporting starts feeling different psychologically. That is why I think the NFL became the wrong arena for Dianna Russini's rehabilitation. The NFL is too political now for her, too corporate, too much money, too much information warfare. The NFL draft alone feels like Silicon Valley, mixed with Congress, mixed with Vegas. Executives strategically leak information, and the agents are manipulating the narratives. Teams bluff reporters. Reporters compete for access the same way political operatives compete for influence in Washington. Everybody protects relationships while pretending relationships do not even matter. And once scandal enters that ecosystem, everything starts feeling transactional. That is why I think college football could save Dianna Russini professionally, because college football still contains innocence. Not complete innocence, obviously. College football still has boosters. There's some politics, but there's NIL money and there's recruiting battles. But emotionally, it still contains enough innocence to recalibrate someone's brain psychologically. And there is deeper, something deeply poetic about the idea of Dianna Russini covering Arch Manning this fall, because Arch Manning represents almost the exact opposite of emotional energy of NFL insider culture. The NFL feels like succession planning inside Fortune 500 companies. College football still feels like mythology. That distinction matters enormously. The NFL feels like corporate warfare. College football still feels like Americana. Now, there's marching bands, there's booster obsession, there's small town dinners filled with alumni discussing quarterbacks over coffee at 6 in the morning. Students camping outside stadiums overnight. Quarterbacks becoming local kings before they're old enough to rent cars comfortably. That environment humbles people emotionally. Just think of Dianna Russini standing in humid SEC sidelines beneath bright stadium lights while students scream behind live broadcasts. Security guards push crowds backward near tunnel entrances. Arch Manning jogs onto the field while 100,000 people rise simultaneously like a religious ceremony beginning. This is not NFL energy. This is closer to mythology. And honestly, humility may be exactly what heals her public image. Because scandals inside media ecosystems often happen when people remain inside elite systems too long. Hollywood does this constantly. Wall Street does this. Washington politics does this. Silicon Valley does this. People become surrounded by exclusivity, access, money, power, and importance for so long that eventually the ecosystem itself starts distorting judgment psychologically. The NFL insider world behaves exactly like that now. Private dinners, there are private texts, there are draft leaks, there's information trading, there are executives cultivating media allies, reporters becoming celebrities themselves. At some point, the line between observer and participant starts dissolving. And once audiences feel that happening, trust erodes fast. And that is why college football matters psychologically here. Because college football forces reporters back into storytelling instead of power broking. The NFL insider game revolves around who leaked what, which executive trusts whom, which owner is panicking, which coach is unhappy, which team is manipulating narratives. College football is different emotionally. College football revolves around hope, tradition, regional identity, young quarterbacks carrying entire states emotionally. And that is why covering someone like Arch Manning can actually become healthy professionally for Dianna Russini. Because Manning is not merely a quarterback prospect, he is football royalty, entering the most emotionally dramatic level of the sport. That matters symbolically. Just imagine Dianna Russini being college football journalist colleagues with with the Pat McAfees of the world, Nick Sabans, Paul Feinbaums, and Kirk Herbstreits. Imagine Rossini sharing stories about Dabo Sweeney, Ryan Day from Ohio State, Urban Meyer, and Reggie Bush. But the NFL, it has become Wall Street. Insiders resemble hedge fund managers trading information advantages before markets even open. Then the NFL becomes politics. Executives leak narratives strategically, like senators floating legislation through friendly reporters before making votes. Then the NFL becomes Hollywood, right? Like Hollywood. Reporters become celebrities themselves, while audiences obsess over backstage relationships more than the actual production. Then college football becomes religion. Stadiums resemble cathedrals. There are marching bands with choirs, right? Saturday afternoons become sacred rituals. Then Arch Manning becomes royalty, a football prince walking through southern stadiums carrying emotional expectations of entire regions. Then Dianna Russini becomes an actress, disappearing temporarily into the independent films after major Hollywood scandal. Because actors do this all the time. Big stars disappear into smaller projects after scandals because smaller arenas reconnect them with craft instead of celebrity. Quarterbacks do this too. Veteran players revive careers quietly inside smaller organizations before returning to major markets. That is what college football could become for Dianna Russini, an independent film phase emotionally, a rehabilitation arena, a place where audiences stop associating her with sources and access and relationships and Mike Vrabel and NFL politics and draft leagues and insider warfare. And they can start associating her again with storytelling, football atmosphere, young players, Saturday traditions, tailgates, bands, rivalries, and the emotional soul of the sport itself. Now think of charcoal smoke drifts through tailgate lots beneath gray southern skies. Parents wear old alumni sweatshirts while teenagers throw footballs in parking lots before kickoff. Brass bands echo through humid air while local reporters discuss football over dinner, coffee, at sunrise even. That would that world reconnects journalists with football itself, not power, but football. And right now, that distinction matters enormously for Dianna Rossini because the scandal damaged something deeper than her reputation. It damaged emotional credibility. That is why I actually think stepping away from NFL insider culture temporarily could become the smartest move she ever makes. Not as a punishment, but as recalibration, because college football still strips people down emotionally. It reminds people why the sport mattered before $1 billion television contracts, information warfare, private leverage, and insider politics consumed everything. And honestly, America loves a redemption story. But redemption stories almost always require humility first. That is the pattern. Fallen celebrities disappear quietly before returning publicly with thunder. Athletes rebuild careers in smaller markets before reclaiming major stages. Public figures reconnect with ordinary environments before audiences trust them again. Humility rarely happens inside elite power structures. It usually happens closer to ordinary emotion, closer to the ground, closer to the original reason people fell in love with the thing in the first place. That is why I think college football may not just save Dianna Russini's career. I see that full redemption when Dianna Russini hugs the NFL number one draft pick, Arch Manning from the University of Texas, at the NFL draft. A new beginning for each one of them. I actually think college football will save Dianna Russini's relationship with football itself. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.